What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming packages, the next physical infrastructure package known as the American Jobs Plan, and the next stimulus package known as the American Families Plan that may or may not be combined into one really large package that would have plenty of money for a fourth stimulus check, monthly recurring stimulus checks, possibly, Social Security increases. There's three different proposals to raise Social Security to minimum benefits higher than they are now, as well as expanding Medicare and 2 years of free preschool, 2 years of free college, as well as student loan debt forgiveness. We cover it all here on the channel, along with child tax credits, which are monthly payments that are going to start on July 15th to children or the person who claims the child as a dependent of $250 to $300 per month. I cover all the different stimulus programs here: mortgage assistance, rental assistance, property tax assistance, utility assistance. I just had a really good video from yesterday that I go over all the different state stimulus checks, county stimulus checks, and state stimulus programs like mortgage assistance, rental assistance, and utility assistance that are going on right now across the country. If you didn't see that video, I'll link you to that video at the end of this video because it's a really good video, and there's money going on right now, stimulus money, that is from the third stimulus check package. $350 billion of it are going to states, cities, and counties, and they are kind of all divvying up this money and giving a portion of it back to their residents, which is you guys. So remember, I cover all the different stimulus programs on here. There's a lot more than just the stimulus check that you might think about. There's about 15 or 20 different stimulus items they're currently negotiating on to be in this next stimulus package, which they're probably going to be starting the voting on this week. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos. New videos come out here on my channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, if you can, hit the like button for us. It really helps out our channel. A major announcement today from the Supreme Court, which could change the way college works. The Supreme Court sides with student athletes today, ruling the NCAA improperly capped education-related benefits. The case was brought by current and former student athletes who played college football as well as men's and women's college basketball and were basically not allowed to accept any form of income. They're not allowed any income at all. They don't get paid like a professional athlete does in the NBA or in the NFL. And yet a lot of these colleges make more money than their pro teams. So if we think about here in Ohio, the Ohio State Stadium football stadium seats over 100,000 people. They sell out every single game. They seat more than the Cleveland Browns do. So they probably make more money than the Cleveland Browns do, and yet they don't pay their players a single dime. They get college scholarships, but a lot of people get injured in college. They don't go on to make any money from their sport. A lot of them have injuries for life, and the amount of money these schools are making is billions of dollars, and this could change. This is kind of the first step for NCAA. This Supreme Court ruling now, that's the top of the top, and kind of is the first step towards NCAA players getting paid for playing their sports for their schools, which are making billions of dollars off these students and yet paying them nothing but a free ride to college. Which, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's a fraction of what pro players make. And remember, a lot of these schools actually make more money than pro players, and yet they don't allow these student athletes to make a dime of income. In fact, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think that college students who play professional or play college sports, can't say professional, right? Because it's just labeling. But if they play for Ohio State or Michigan State or Florida State or anything like that, and their school's making billions of dollars off them playing the sports, do you think they should get paid similar to how the pros get paid? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Next up, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who is the leader of the Senate and the leader of the Democrats in the Senate, has a major announcement. I believe this is the first time he's come out and said this publicly. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer joins Senator Bernie Sanders, who's the Senate Budget Chairman, in the push to add dental and vision coverage to Medicare. Millions of early Americans on Medicare would get dental, vision, and hearing insurance added to their benefits, under a proposal now pushed by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer along with Senator Bernie Sanders. Americans ages 65 and older have since the 1960s received subsidized health coverage under Medicare. But Schumer said the program's lack of additional benefits leave millions of dental problems and expensive bills for vision and hearing treatments. Medicare actually started back in 1965. Before that, there was no Medicare. And that's why, as we see the decades kind of roll on, we're seeing all sorts of new programs that are becoming the new reality, the new norm of the United States. Back before then, in the 1930s, from the Great Depression, Social Security didn't even exist. And the unemployment programs, where if you lost your job, the government would help you out temporarily because you lost your job, didn't exist. And the Great Depression happened. Millions of people lost their jobs, up to 25% of all Americans. And there was no unemployment. You got nothing when you lost your job. There was no jobs to be found. And there was no Social Security program. There was no safety net for seniors who paid into the system. There was also no SSI or SSDI. There was no disability. If you were disability, you got nothing. There was no government support at all. Since then, we've seen all these new programs. Social Security added, SSI, SSDI. We have the unemployment benefits that are now, permanent, basically. We now have Medicare added from 1965. And nowadays, we're seeing the modern day stimulus packages and stimulus checks. We're also starting to see forms of universal basic income across the entire country. And we have Democratic representatives that are pushing for a universal basic income for all low income Americans. And we'll have a bill introduced this year. I mentioned that in the last video. If you didn't watch the last video right before this, you should go back and watch this about monthly programs called Universal Basic Income across the country that are already passed in certain areas of anywhere from $500 per month all the way up to $1,250 per month, which is, again, it's not going to make anybody rich, just like Social Security or Medicare or unemployment. It's not going to make anybody rich, but it's enough to just kind of keep you out of the dirt poor poverty level that a lot of people in America are struggling with. And it's basically we put a little bit of extra money in your pocket every month to help you survive. A lot of people call these survival checks. Not really stimulus checks. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Bernie Sanders plan to add the additional benefits to the American Jobs and Family Plan, which is the next stimulus package, and this is the next infrastructure package, the American Jobs Plan, and the next stimulus package, the American Families Plan, which the Democrats are currently combining into one package and could be passing through the reconciliation process, and has been pushed by President Biden since April. The White House officials did not include expanding Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision in its original proposal. And this is why I've been saying the negotiations are kind of the most important part here. And we've seen this back from the last two packages. The second stimulus check wasn't added in. It was originally announced without a second stimulus check. It was added in like 6 days before they passed the package. And we basically just had an uproar from congressmen and congresswomen, along with the American people, writing their senators, tweeting their senators, signing petitions, emailing them and saying, hey, we absolutely have to have another stimulus check added in the stimulus package. And that's what they did in the second stimulus check package. They added it in 6 days before they passed it. They basically added it in at the last minute, wrote the bill, and then passed it. And we've seen the same thing happen from the third stimulus check package, where the very last day they were still negotiating on lowering the income thresholds for the third stimulus check, but they added in that $10,200 unemployment tax break, which makes the first $10,200 of unemployment income for last year retroactive for 2020 tax-free, which means the average person that was on unemployment last year is going to be receiving an additional $1,000 stimulus check or $1,000 IRS reimbursement check for the taxes you paid. Generally, if it's passed from a stimulus package, I consider it a stimulus provision. Some people just consider it a refund check or tax check, whatever you want to consider it, right? It's a check from the government in your bank account and it's money. That's all that really matters. Whether you consider it a stimulus provision because it was passed from the stimulus check or the stimulus package it is really kind of irrelevant. All that matters is you get extra money put in your pocket to help you out in time of need. But nonetheless, that was an extra stimulus provision added in the day they passed it in the Senate. In fact, they convened, left the Senate floor while the vote was happening. It actually ended up breaking a record for the longest vote ever because they left in the middle of the vote The vote was still open, and they just left for hours to go back behind closed doors and negotiate with Senator Joe Manchin. So it actually went down as the longest vote in U.S. history on the third stimulus check package. And they came back and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we have these new provisions. We need to restart the vote, and we're going to vote on these new provisions." But it gave a lot of people on unemployment an extra check that they weren't going to get when they originally started that voting. And that just shows you that they can add in these stimulus provisions, whether they're checks or tax credits or IRS refund check, whatever it is, it's money in your pocket, right? It's a check from the government to you. And they can be negotiated up until the day they pass it. And that is likely what's going to happen with this next stimulus package as well. So again, White House officials did not initially include expanding Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision. But now we have so many Democrats that are on board, including the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Budget Chairman, Senator Bernie Sanders. They say, quote, "If you talk to family medicine or primary care doctors, they will tell you with certainty that ignoring medical issues related to dental, vision, and hearing often devolves into far more serious medical problems for seniors, or for people, especially seniors, that cost more to treat and are harder to remedy," said Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in a conference last night. With the current Medicare platform, those three things are just left out, like it's no big deal. But it is a big deal, and we should fix it. So let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Is there anybody that thinks that hearing, dental, and vision shouldn't be included in Medicare? Let me know your thoughts. I feel like this is a long overdue change, along with Social Security raises and as well as a fourth stimulus check. All these different provisions are things, as I said, they're currently negotiating on and are gaining more and more support to be in this next stimulus package. Now, as I said, there's about 15 or 20 different stimulus items. I don't expect that they will all make it into this next stimulus package, although I do expect this. We're going to see at least a single fourth stimulus check in this next package. And I also think that we're probably going to see Medicare expansion, the Social Security. I don't know. There's 3 different plans there, and to raise Social Security benefits. One for SSI, that's $279 per month. One to raise Social Security benefits by $200 per month for all Social Security beneficiaries. And then another one from President Biden himself that raises Social Security up to 125% of the federal poverty level would be the bare minimum, which would be $1,341 per month. We haven't really seen a clear winner picked here for the Social Security. So we'll have to see what ends up making it in this next package. As I said, there's about 20 different items, including mortgage assistance, rental assistance, the fourth stimulus check itself, 2 years of free college, 2 years of free preschool. There's so many different things. I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of them. We'll probably end up seeing half or more in these next 2 packages. And the question is how they're going to pass it and what will end up being in these next 2 packages. Here is Senate Budget Chairman Bernie Sanders talking on this issue.
So joining me now is independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, as I said, the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. So I mentioned that the Biden agenda is moving on 2 tracks, that bipartisan infrastructure deal, which we're going to get to in a moment. And then there is the Democrats' only effort that you are leading. Your $6 trillion reconciliation package will likely include so-called human infrastructure like paid family leave, elder care. But you've also indicated that it could go beyond that, address the climate crisis, Medicare, even immigration. So I know you speak with President Biden frequently. You have his blessing to go this big?
Well, Dana, what I think the president has done is given us a blueprint as to where we want to go. And I think it's a serious and comprehensive blueprint. You know, I sometimes think we get boggled down in numbers, and that's important. But we got to look at what the needs are of the American people, what's going on right now. And what is going on right now, obviously, as everybody knows, very rich are doing phenomenally well. Corporate profits are soaring. And yet we have, in terms of real wages for working people, it's lower today than it was 48 years ago. Half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. Let's go through the issues. Does anyone think that child care in America is satisfactory? It is a disaster. Working families can't pay $15,000, $20,000 a year for child care. We got a housing crisis. How do you not deal with climate? You tell me. Look at what's going on in California, Australia. Scientists tell us we have a few years left before there's irreparable damage. Of course, you have to deal with climate. We're the only major country on earth not to have paid family and medical leave. Meanwhile, large corporations and the rich avoid paying their fair share of taxes, and we have to address that as well. So all that the president is doing, all I am doing, is taking a look at reality for working families, understand their needs have been ignored for decades. Now it is time to create good-paying jobs, millions of good-paying jobs, addressing healthcare, housing, infrastructure.
You told my co-anchor, Jake Tapper, that it is your job also as Budget Committee Chairman to get input from the other 49 members of the Democratic caucus. A number of them, I'm sure you've heard by now, Joe Manchin, Jeanne Shaheen, John Tester, they're already expressing deep reservations about what you just described, which adds up, we believe, to $6 trillion. So how do you square that? Are you willing to come off that number or scale back to follow how you describe your plan, to scale back in some of what you want to do in order to actually get it passed?
Well, Dana, the process has just begun. I mean, that's what the process is about. As chairman of the committee, I intend to be meeting and discussing these issues with every member of the Democratic caucus. And, I think that there is general agreement that the time is long overdue that we address many of the long neglected problems facing the middle class and working class of this country. Are there differences about this proposal, that proposal, the amount of money? Yeah, there are. And that's something we're going to have to work together to hammer out, and I intend to do that.
Okay, so that's your track, and I want to keep going on that. But there is this compromise infrastructure plan. I know you don't support it, but it's all part of this complicated balancing act that you are a part of trying to keep afloat. Fellow progressives say that they won't back that bipartisan bill unless they know that their priorities will be covered in what you are working on. The moderates, whose votes are essential to passing what you come up with, Senator Sanders, are reluctant to support a big price tag. So can you just take us through that process? How do you thread the needle to satisfy everybody in the Democratic caucus?
Well, that's what Majority Leader Schumer and I are working on right now, and it's not easy. You've got 50 different Democratic senators in the caucus, each have their own priorities, but we got to bring people together. The bottom line here is that the bipartisan proposal provides spending in some very important areas: roads, bridges, water systems, and that's good. The amount of money that they are proposing is about 1/4 of what the president talked about in terms of new money. That's not adequate. And what we should be also watching carefully is how it is paid for. What the president has said, quite correctly, is he doesn't want to raise taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year. I agree. In this proposal, which their bipartisan proposal, like ours, is still in flux, they're talking, some people at least are talking about raising the gas tax or a fee on electric cars, or maybe privatization of infrastructure. Those, to my mind, are bad ideas.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And that's why, I get some comments from people say, why don't they just pass it already? Well, they're in the process of doing that. In fact, they might be voting on the starting processes of the reconciliation process this week. But as you just heard him say there, that if they go too large, they lose some of the Democrat moderates like Joe Manchin. If they go too small, they lose some of the progressive Democrats. So they have to, what she called their thread the needle. They have to find the very perfect plan that will be enough for the progressive Democrats and enough for the moderate Democrats. The reason I say the Democrats is because they're talking about passing it through the reconciliation process right now without Republicans, okay? That is how they passed the third stimulus check package. They passed that package. They got everybody on their Democratic side support. There was one Democrat from the House of Representatives that said no. So 99% of the House Democrats said yes. They passed it in the House. 100% of the Democratic senators voted yes, including Senator Joe Manchin, and that included the largest stimulus checks yet to date, the $1,400 for adults, $1,400 for children, $1,400 for adult dependents and college student dependents who didn't even get a check last time around, and also expanded the child tax credits to $3,000 to $3,600, which the IRS is going to start sending out in monthly payments on July 15th. So they used to be $2,000. They increased it to $3,000 and $3,600 for children under the age of 6. They passed almost $50 billion in mortgage assistance, rental assistance, property tax assistance, utility assistance, all these different programs we talk about on the show. In by and large, the money that went to the people, it was the largest stimulus package yet to date. Now, former President Trump's first stimulus package was larger in dollar amount, 2.3 trillion compared to President Biden's 1.9 trillion, but President Biden's had larger stimulus checks in there. It has the child tax credits expanded, which is basically an additional $1,000 to $1,600 per child that was passed from this package. Without that, that would be money that people wouldn't be getting. That $50 billion in rental assistance. I have seen your comments of people saying, yes, Jimmy, I got $5,000 in rental assistance. Yes, I got $10,000 in rental assistance. I've seen several comments of people that got like $13,000 or $16,000. They basically got their rent paid for a whole year. So, yeah, and this is kind of what the Democrats want to do. They want more, 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 more. If you're a Republican, you might not like it, but this is what they're discussing right now. Now, if they pass it with Republican support, the infrastructure package is going to be a lot smaller, and then they're going to pass the stimulus package anyways through the reconciliation process. And this is kind of the state of of Congress right now. Last year, when I was reporting to you guys about the second stimulus check, it was a much different story. I was talking about how Mitch McConnell's got to be on board. The Republicans control the Senate. We need the Republicans to be on board. The president was a Republican, former President Donald Trump. And now Congress is controlled by the Democrats, the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So it's just kind of a different path to get stimulus passed. But nonetheless, they are going to pass this one way or another. The real question is, how big will it be? How many stimulus items will be in there? Will there be a forced stimulus check? Will there be monthly forced stimulus checks? How much will they be? Will they extend the child tax credits? Will they have free college in there? All these different things. Social Security raises, Medicare raises. So I'll keep you up to date on everything. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe down below. It's completely free to do so. All it does is make sure that you won't miss the videos as much, because YouTube does not show you every video of mine unless the easiest way to do it is to subscribe and click the bell icon to all notifications so you get reminder notifications when we go live. Again, it's free to subscribe. It doesn't cost a dime. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times so you don't miss out on any new videos. There's also a share button down below so you can share this video with your friends and family. You can click this video here about all the state, city, and county stimulus checks and stimulus programs going on, as well as my wife makes a special guest appearance at the end of this video. And this video is about President Biden's Social Security raise, my most recent video on that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.